Today I'm going to tell you a story about Sambation River, please. If this is your first time watching my stories, please do where to subscribe to my channel. Let's start with the story. In the ancient hills of northern Ethiopia, nestled between jagged peaks and deep valleys, there lived an old mystic named Eleazar. He was a man of few words but profound presence, whose very silence carried the weight of centuries. Every Friday at sundown, he would climb the highest ridge and look westward, not toward the sun, but toward the legend, the Sambation River. For generations, people had spoken of the Sambation, a mythical river said to rage with stones and fire 6 days a week, then fall completely silent on the Sabbath. Some said it guarded the lost tribes of Israel. Others believed it marked the boundary between this world and the next. Most dismissed it as just a tale for the pious and the dreamers. But Eleazar knew it was real. He had heard the stories from his grandfather, who had heard them from his own grandfather, tales of a time long past, when their people were scattered by conquest, and some had disappeared beyond the known world, protected by divine hands. When Eleazar turned 70, he made a vow. He would not leave this world without seeing the Sambation with his own eyes. One dry season, when the moon hung thin like a blade in the sky, Eleazar packed a sack with figs, dry bread, and a worn scroll of psalms. He set out westward, alone, into the hostile land. The villagers called him mad. His niece wept, but he walked on. Through dust storms that tore at his skin, through bandit lands and scorching plains, across mountains that scraped the clouds. And then, after 40 days and nights, he came upon a valley untouched by time. There, in a crevice that cut like a scar across the earth, thundered a river like none he had ever seen. It didn't flow with water, but with stones, not pebbles, but boulders that crashed and roared, carried by a current of invisible force. Sparks flew. The ground trembled. He had found it, the Sambation. Eleazar fell to his knees and wept, not from fear, but from the unbearable holiness of the sight. He watched the river rage for hours, its fury relentless, until the sun began to set on Friday evening. And then, as if on command, the chaos ceased. The stones halted midair. The roar dissolved into a profound silence. Not even the wind dared to move. The river rested, and in that sacred stillness, Eleazar saw them. Across the now silent river stood figures, tall, robed in white, their faces radiant with peace. They looked not surprised, but as if they had been waiting for him. One stepped forward, an elderly man with eyes like burning coals, and spoke in an ancient tongue. But Eleazar understood. Son of the scattered, the man said, "You have crossed not land, but time. Few still believe, fewer still seek. You have found us." Eleazar took a trembling step forward, as if to cross the invisible bridge between them, but the elder raised his hand. "No man may cross until his time comes," he said gently. "Return, carry this truth back. Tell them we are real, that we remember." Tears streamed down Eleazar's face. "But they won't believe me," he whispered. "Then show them not the river," the elder replied. "Show them your faith." Eleazar stayed by the Sambation until dawn. When the sun rose on Saturday morning, the stones began to churn once more, and the river thundered back to life. The figures vanished into mist. He made the long journey home, aged and quiet, never speaking of what he'd seen, not at first, but his presence changed. His eyes held a light they hadn't before. Children would sit at his feet, drawn by something they couldn't name. The doubters mocked him, but Eleazar smiled. He had seen a hidden truth the world had forgotten. And as he lay on his deathbed, his family gathered around him. He whispered his last words. "The lost are not lost. They are waiting." Years later, after his passing, his scroll of psalms was found. Tucked inside was a small stone, smooth and black, with markings that no one could read. It pulsed faintly, as if echoing a heartbeat from beyond the veil. And still, once in a generation, someone in the hills dreams of a river that rages 6 days and rests on the 7th. A river of stones, a river of prophecy, the Sambation, Comment any of your opinion.